Hello and welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at ClaytSAFC on Twitter. Happy Thursday. Had to remind myself what day it was there. 8:30 a.m. here in the UK. So bright and early after a 2-0 win at home against Luton. Job done. Rotated the squad. Everyone came away injury-free, we hope. On to the next one. I don't think this one needs to be war and peace, to be honest. 5 changes to the 11. The most Arteta has made in changes in the Premier League since September 2021. I don't know what other listeners thought, but I thought there'd be 2 to 3 changes. I didn't think he'd go and do this many. So fair play. It's nice to see him in a position where he feels like he can trust them to do that, right? Because I think in the Europa League, he's in previous times kind of had to do that. In the EFL Cup, he's kind of had to do that. Whereas in the Premier League, you can tell he really does respect the opposition. And I don't think this was disrespectful to Luton. I think it's just more, it was a reminder of once everyone's fit, how strong some of the squad are. Because like you look at Zinchenko, who we'll talk about, you look at Partey and even Tommy, what I was going to say on them two is just last season, they were key cogs in us being in a title race and first team players every week. And even Tomiyasu, as far as 2 years ago, was someone that was a starting 11 player, and we couldn't comprehend not starting last season without him. So Smith Rowe obviously is someone else, and Reiss Nelson, like I know he's not of that level, but he's someone that can play a role. So we'll get into it in a second, but I just wanted to comment on, I think when you make 5 changes like that, it is so natural for fluidity to be a little bit off. Arteta spoke a lot about relationships in his pre-match press conference, and you could see it. Like I think when you change half the team, obviously it's going to look a little bit disjointed in periods. It's not going to quite be the A-star performance that it can be, and that's why for me yesterday was just the case of yesterday was result and availability over aesthetics, and I think that's what we did. In, out, onto the next one. That's all it is for me. I'll go through. I don't think this will be a long one. Like I said in the preview with Nima, doing a pod every single game, preview and review. So doing this one today, and then we'll do a Brighton preview tomorrow. So we'll try to keep this one nice and short and snappy, so you can get it in your ears before the Brighton one comes out tomorrow. Lineup. So lineup came out. Like I said, there were 5 changes, and the team ended up being Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. So that was actually the back 5 I predicted. Midfield, I did not predict this one, and I'd be surprised if many did. It was a midfield 3 of Partey, Odegaard, and Emile Smith Rowe back in the starting 11, which was really good to see. And then a front 3 of Nelson, Havertz, and Trossard. And again, I'd be very surprised if anyone actually got 11 out of 11 in this prediction, to be honest. Because it said it all. This was the first time Arteta has made that many changes since September 2021. And I guess going through the game, I'll cover off player by player, and I think that will probably, cover it all, to be honest. So in goal, Raya, nothing really to say. I didn't think he had much to do, to be honest. If I look at the stats, and I've got FOTMob here in front of me, Luton had 1 shot on target. It's interesting, like the XG on FOTMob is 0.73 Arsenal and 0.34 Luton. 13 shots to their 5, 4 on target to their 1. So quite a I wouldn't say tight game, because I do feel like I never felt like we weren't going to win this, to be honest, even though Luton had spells where they played really well. Got to the point of Raya, just didn't feel like he really had to do anything. On the ball, did what he did, made himself available when he needed to. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. I feel like Gabriel... Let me start with White. I thought White was fine. I was very surprised that he played the full 90 minutes. I know we are aware of how durable he is, and he's always available. He's a warrior, but I don't know. I found it strange that he stayed on for the full 90, to be honest. We only made 1, 2, 3. Did we make 5? Oh yeah, we did make 5 subs. But I remember there was a point when we'd made 4 subs, and I was thinking, surely get White or Odegaard off. But fair enough. He he does what he does, and he's just. I was watching him yesterday, like this guy is a freak. Like when I saw him taking off a few of the other players, like looking at Ben White, like he's just always available, and like that cliche of like availability is the best currency or something like that. Like he is just someone that by always being available, I think his stock is so high, and it's not just being available. He drops a 7, 8 out of 10 every game as well. So I thought he was, really good again. He didn't need to do anything in particular, but he did what he needed to do really well. Saliba doing Saliba things, to be honest. He Saliba was being Saliba. So not much to do there. Gabriel, I thought he got drawn into a good battle with Colton Morris. Um, yeah, I'd be very interested to see like aerial duels and all of that sort of stuff. I don't actually have. So okay, interesting. So ground duels, Gabriel won 4 out of 5, and aerial duels, he only won 4 out of 9. And it's interesting because I felt that in the ground. I did feel like Morris was getting the better of him in the actual duels, let's say. And even passing wise, I thought Gabriel was a little bit sloppy yesterday, to be honest. A couple of mishit passes, a couple of times he picked the wrong option, in my opinion. And even look at this accurate long balls, 0 out of 5. So again, it's not. Well, it is a criticism, but again, it's okay to criticize. I didn't think he was as good as people were making out personally. I thought he defended well when it was like kind of backs against the wall defending, having to run back, getting a foot race, cover for Zinchenko a little bit. But I didn't think it was his best game, and I thought Morris did really well. Zinchenko, I feel like he is a player that's going to divide a lot of opinion in the run-in. I thought in periods he was really poor yesterday. I think with him, you know what you get, and you know what the risk reward appetite is of him, and you know that the risk versus reward can be extremely rewarding. But there was just some immaturity in his game yesterday, in my opinion, and even little things like this is just a pet peeve of mine. But the whole like galvanizing the squad and this and the crowd, and this and that. He did that after a throw-in, and it was like, I'm sure 4 or 5 minutes in, I'm just like, mate, calm down and just play football. Like, I think I get it against the likes of Bayern Munich and Porto and Tottenham and all of that, but it's Luton at home. Like, just, I don't know. He's like, sometimes I think he can be way too emotional. I wasn't particularly impressed with him last night, to be honest. I think some of his passes and his pass selection was just mind-boggling. Again, I know the risk-reward profile of him, but there are moments when you choose the risk and reward, and I think too often he was picking the wrong time to do it. And then even there was a moment at the back where him and Gabriel were like hesitating on who should go and actually get the ball. That's probably 50-50 responsibility between the both of them. But really disappointed in him, to be honest. And I don't want to jump to any conclusions here because he has got a profile that I think is so useful in the squad, and his ability to come on and potentially play the 300,000 passes is a skill set we need. But I look at what game was it where he came on as a sub? Was it Porto? No, like there's been 2 sub appearances now where I don't think he's really let us spark in us, let's say. And then this game where he actually started against Luton, who are probably, unfortunately, going to get relegated. And I think he was poor. And then you look at how we started the season, and I know he was injured, but you look at like Tomiyasu playing in some games, Timber coming in, and us actually playing with one less defender. I do think we're evolving past him, He changed our lives in terms of coming in and raising the level and showing us how a fullback can play in midfield and taking us to to a title challenging level. I think we're watching us move beyond him, and I think Arteta's moving beyond him as well, to be honest. Just looking at how he uses fullbacks now and the 4 centre-backs and this kind of defensive resilience we're showing. And then I look at how we're sometimes playing with more of a double pivot because Jorginho only needs to be in the team for the first phase build-up, right? And I look at the variability that other players offer us. Zinchenko can only really do one role, and that's inverting into midfield, right? If we play a Rice and Partey, if we play a Rice and Jorginho, we don't need that profile. So I want to watch. I think don't want to write him off because he's absolutely got a part to play in this run-in. We'll be relying on him. He'll start a couple of games. He'll come off the bench in a couple of games. It wouldn't surprise me if he starts against Brighton, to be honest, but I need to think about that one before I do the predicted lineup tomorrow. But yeah, one to watch. I think Arteta's gonna be moving beyond him. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that one. Midfield three. Considering it was a very new midfield that has barely played together, I thought there were some really encouraging signs here. Again, Partey for me. I think in this game, again, risk-reward appetite, you can see he really tries to punch the ball through the lines a lot. But I love seeing him as an option because I think if he can come in and afford for Rice to have a rest, then that is enough. And again, you look at just 12 months ago, Partey was unbelievable. In that first 19 games before the World Cup, I think he was one of the best sixes in the world. His on-the-ball ability is phenomenal. And sure, off the ball, he's showing flaws. And I do think he's lost a yard a bit with his injuries. Even though he's quite a powerful build, he doesn't look the most athletic in vacated spaces, let's say. I think he looks strong in the tackles, strong in the duels, but when there's a big hole, it doesn't look like he's ever going to make up the ground. But on the ball, just love him as an option, man. Really, really glad he's back because I can see that. I asked my friend yesterday, in the big games, we've typically gone for Jorginho and Rice, but obviously a lot of those Partey's not been available. I think we'll see Partey Rice in a big game. We saw it in the Community Shield, and then that is a midfield that the two of them. It's powerful, it's athletic, but it's got that technical ability as well. So it's really good to see him getting minutes because I think he's going to have a big say in the run-in, both minutes off the bench, but then also starting in certain games as well. I think he's going to have a huge say. Odegaard, mate, this guy, he's a joke. He is an absolute joke. His work rate is unbelievable. I'm really surprised he played 90 minutes, to be honest. But fair play, he's obviously got that in him. But again, I just thought surely this was a game where we were winning. Just take him off, give him a rest, get Vieira some minutes. I was really surprised to not see that change, actually, Vieira for Odegaard. But the gaffer knows the fitness levels better than we do, obviously. So, great performance, great goal. His finishing ability is just top quality. He's just got that laser precision about him. And even though it wasn't specifically for this goal, because the way he cut across it, just there's a couple of times this season where he just puts his laces through it right in the corners. His finishing has come on leaps and bounds, unbelievable. Really good performance from him. Smith Rowe, really, really encouraging. I think every Arsenal fan wants this guy to succeed, right? And don't get me wrong, I do think some of the analysis of him has been overblown. I think it was a good performance. I wouldn't say it was as top class as I'm seeing some people say. Just really encouraging though. I think it was more his defensive aptitude looked like he was working really hard to drop back, track back when he lost his runner. When he was dispossessed, he ran straight back in. He obviously won the duel to win the ball to then set us up for the first goal. Made some really nice overlapping and underlapping runs. Obviously, he played a part in the second goal as well. Making that really nice run into the half space where he was fed in, then had the composure to take a touch and put it in the danger area. Really encouraging performance. I'm hoping that we're able to see him get substantial minutes now, whether that's in a starting capacity or coming in for 30 minutes against Brighton. I just hope we really see him consistently play now, because I think he's someone that, whether it's starting or off the bench, get him in the rhythm of playing every few days, and I think we'll get the best out of him. He is someone that, again, his profile, I think we've all forgotten what he can. Well, no, we haven't forgotten, but we've not seen what he can do for us for a while. So hopefully we get the best of him in the run-in. Really encouraging things and really happy for him. It was nice I think he got actual man of the match as well, right? I know FOTMob says here Odegaard, but I'm sure I saw a picture of Smith Rowe holding the player of the match thing. So yeah, really good. Contributed for both goals. And then on to the front three, who two of them obviously contributed as well. So Reiss Nelson, he tried. I don't think he tried to claim the goal, but yeah, it was his first start since 2020, which I've forgotten which game it was. I did have it right in front of me. I can't find it now, but I'm sure it was the Liverpool game in the COVID season 2020. But still, first start, and yeah, he did well. I thought he looked okay. I think with him, you know the level. I've never been one to think he's like a world beater or, yeah, I've never been one to think he's a world beater, to be honest. He's just very much a fringe level player, and again, I think if he can come in a strong structure where people are familiar with what they need to do, so you look at that right hand side and White and Odegaard, then you can afford to throw someone like him in who's probably just below the level of the others, and he'll do a job. I think that's exactly it, to be honest. Like, there's not much to write home about with him from last night, in my opinion. I thought when he had the ball, he showed a nice level of urgency, which he always does. He always looks to like attack with pace. Yeah, and really nice running in front of Hashioka, I think is how you pronounce his name. Hashioka, to obviously contribute to the own goal. But yeah, good performance. Nothing to write home about, but yeah, did his job. And this is all you need in a rotated 11 at home against one of the relegated teams. You just do your job and get out. But yeah, it's nice to see that he got some substantial minutes, and you never know. Again, if there's a game state that suits him, get him on. Let's see what he can do in surrounded by a strong 11 and not like a Europa League team, which is what I've said for a while. Like, so a lot of these fringe players, I want to see what they can do surrounded by the first 11 quality, who are like some of the best in the world, versus the starting 11. Havertz up top again, good 66 minutes in his belt. Thought he was okay as well. Yeah, good combination play in periods. Made himself a nuisance. And yeah, nice layoff to Odegaard for the goal. Like pretty much, like we talk a lot about passes with information, right? And like that pass was like, you're going to shoot here first time. So yeah, really good from him. Yeah, again, like I feel like this was just a game where there wasn't too many amazing moments, and yeah, a lot of them just did their job. Yeah, really good job to set up the goal for Odegaard. And Trossard, again, similar to the others. He did his job, played in Smith Rowe nicely. They kind of got the pre-assist for the second goal. Yeah, thought he was good in periods. So that was dropping in pockets, hanging out wide, holding the width in times as well. So yeah, I felt it was a good performance from him as well. Everyone just did their job, and I think for me, one of the things is obviously I spoke about when you rotate the 11 this much, you're going to lose some fluidity. So I think that's why a lot of the analysis from me is like pinch of salt. Like, I cannot stress out enough how much this would have been. Get in there, just get the win. And like once we went 1-0 up in the 24th minute, I thought, yeah, we're plain sailing here. And then you get the second goal before half time. And then it's like, yeah, this is cruise control. To be honest, I am like, as much as I'm saying it was always going to be disjointed, it's like a rotated 11 and stuff. I do think I am a little bit disappointed with how much Luton were able to play, because they had their own injuries, right? And they were able to play some nice football in periods. They got into dangerous areas despite not doing anything. And I do think there was an element of us panicking a little bit and rushing and like not playing our football, not having that structural reset and just building from phase one again. I feel like we were quite quickly trying to progress through the lines, and that probably is quite telling when Zinchenko and Partey were the two in that double pivot, because they're quite aggressive movers of the ball. But yeah, so I think if I had to have one element of constructive criticism, even with the rotated 11, it was just show more patience. I think that the first 11 shows, like, just work your way up the pitch in a slow manner where you slowly get them in that stranglehold. I feel like we showed a little bit too much urgency, and as a result, I do think the game became a little bit more open than Arteta would have liked. And there were moments I saw him on the touchline, absolutely ballistic, to be fair. But on him, I thought he managed the squad really well. Really nice to see this. Like, yeah, when you're able to give rests to Kiwior, Rice, Jesus, Martinelli, Saka. I've not even mentioned him. Wasn't in the squad, so hopefully he's okay. But yeah, I've just really liked the substitutions. Eddie came on. He's someone that obviously I spoke about him in the preview. Didn't want him to start, but again, he's part of the first team squad. He might have a part to play in this run-in. Give him half an hour. Like, did he do anything? No, but it's minutes in his legs, right? Rice then came on for Partey. So again, Partey's like working his fitness up nicely. Rice comes on, keep him fit. Tomiyasu came on for Zinchenko. As much as I thought Zinchenko wasn't playing great, I would have preferred Tommy came on for White just to give White a little bit of rest, but maybe doesn't need it. So again, you're looking at all of the energy levels of these guys. And then Martinelli came on for Nelson as well. And it's like everyone is just like, they're getting managed, whether it's through like a substantial effort starting or like a healthy end to the game. It's really good. And then the final one, just a shut up shop, was Jorginho on for Smith Rowe. So our squad is strong. And you look at it and the bench as well. And like there's people there like Kiwi or Vieira, Jesus that didn't even get minutes. And you look at it like when Saka's back in, when Timber comes, like someone big is going to be out of the starting 11, you know, the squad, sorry. So, yeah, really encouraging to be able to use the squad like this. And it just makes me encouraged going into Brighton for Saturday, because I think I look at games now as like 90 minutes has become such a long period for me to manage game states because of how strong the squad is. It's like, even if we're losing, I think we've got more than enough to completely change the outlook of a game. So I think that's why I feel really relaxed going into even a tough game like Brighton away, because I think we have enough to manage it throughout the whole of 90 minutes with the options we've got available. So I think it's just a case, like Clive on the Arsenal Vision podcast talks about starters and finishers. Get the starters right, and then we've got the finishers to just overwhelm teams now. So, yeah, really, really good squad management from Arteta. Really like that. And yeah, that's nothing more from me. Like I said, nice, quick 22-minute review of last night. Nothing to write home about. And you could tell it with the crowd as well, to be fair. Like I joked with my friend, I'm someone, I like to have a few beers, like to get involved with the singing, the atmosphere. Pre-match, I always go to the same block where in the North Bank where it gets a bit lively. But I said to my mate as a joke, like, I'm conserving my energy for the run-in. I went in last night, just chatted to my mate, had a hot chocolate, just wanted to watch a nice chill game of football. Is that bad? Maybe, but I'm conserving my energy. Yes, I didn't want it to turn into an emotionally exhausting game like Man City, like the Porto one, like where those took a few years off me. So I just wanted to go in last night, just watch some nice football, relax, and I got what I wanted, to be honest. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get pelters for that, but it is what it is. Us fans have a big part to play in the run-in as much as the players do, and it can get bloody fucking draining. So lovely stuff last night. 2-0 at home, no dramas. Injury-free, hopefully Saka's back. We'll be back tomorrow to do the Brighton preview before we hopefully make it another win on the road. Cheers, everyone. Up the Arsenal.